Okay, it is the next day and it hasn't even been 24 hours since we tapped this sugar maple tree in our backyard. And so Andy asked me to check and see what it looks like because it was flowing so much yesterday. So here we are the next day and we're going to take a look and see what we got. Oh my goodness. Oh my God, look at that. Wow, that is absolutely full. Okay, so there you have it. It is less than 24 hours. This is actually overfilled. It's amazing. All right, I'm going to show you what we're going to do with this. Good morning. It is February 8th, 2026. And I'm going down to check on our sap production. It is 10:30 in the morning, and it's going to be a high of 60 today. I think right now it's like 43, but it's a beautiful day. And one of the things that we want to do is monitor the temperature, the days we're checking, how much is in here. So I'm anxious to see, excited to see what we have from just what I think I checked it last night at 6, and it was like a quarter full. So let's see what we got. Yeah, we got a pretty full. This is a 2-gallon bucket, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead and take this inside and transfer it to our empty water bottles. And one of the things that I did want to mention was temperature. So I believe that this needs to be at freezing temperatures, at least through the night. So that's one of the reasons I'm emptying it, is because it's going to get warmer today. So I probably am not going to have as much production, but again, we're monitoring it all. So it'll be interesting to see how this all flows. Get it? Flows. Okay, it is 43 degrees out. It's 10:48 in the morning, and this is what we got. So we are almost full. And I'm going to go ahead and get this transferred into the bottle. So it is February 8th, 2026, 48 degrees currently, and I think it's going to get up to 60 today. Okay, it is Tuesday, February 10th at 5:11, and I'm going to check on our sap. Join me. It is 70 degrees out, which I know I'm wearing this like huge sweater, but it just doesn't feel like it's 70. It feels like it's, I don't know, 60 maybe. I mean, it's a beautiful day. I'm cold for some reason. So, all right, here's what we got. Okay, so we're about halfway full. Lots of ants, but that's okay. Okay, I'm up here at our property, and we have this other maple tree that we have a sap bucket on. And it is February 11th, 2026. It is 12:58 and it's 59 degrees. It's been a rainy day all day. It's kind of let up a little bit, but it was raining here a minute ago. I guess I could take that. Yeah, it's still raining a little bit, but anyway, I'm here checking on our sap collection bucket, and it is definitely not as much as the maple tree at home. Take a look. trying to get this lid off with one hand. Let's see. There we go. Whoops, almost came off the tree. Alright. There we go. Trying to get that hooked back on there. Okay, here's what we got. So, definitely not as much as the one maple tree we have at home, because this has been 3 days. So it's funny, it's not as clear either, but I'm still going to go ahead and collect it, put it in my bucket here. Here we go. Doing this with one hand. I just happened to be up this way, and I told Andy that I would check on our sap bucket. So here's what we got.
Well, this is the day we've been waiting for. We are going to be evaporating our sap so that we can make that into maple syrup. And you can see right behind us here is one of our trees. You can kind of see the bucket there on the edge. It has stopped producing because it's gotten warmer. So we've been collecting sap for about a week. And today is the day that we're going to boil this down. And we're just getting started. It's about 9:30 in the morning. We have the fire going. You can see that we have well, good morning, Real and Raw fans. It is February 15th, 2026, and we are going to be evaporating our sap today to make maple syrup. So, this is the setup we're going with this year. This is a wood stove, old wood stove. It's like 27 years old, I think. One of the inexpensive ones. But what we have done, we started the fire in there, and we put cold sap in there, so it's going to take a little bit to get boiling. But hopefully this is going to work well for us. We got a fire just started in there. It hasn't even caught on the wood. There's no coals or anything. And what we did is we just took out the inserts. These older stoves have these inserts. If we had a little bit larger pan, we could have taken the whole top off there. Or not the whole top, but the portion of the top. But we didn't have that large pan. We couldn't source one. So we're just going to be using these roaster pans. And hopefully this is going to work out for us today. We have just under 8 gallons of sap that we've collected. And this sap here that we've got in the boiler and in the warmer above it there, that's going to help warm up since we're starting with cold sap. This is from a tree up at the farm. So it is a red maple tree, and the sap from the red maple was just a touch cloudy for some reason. We're not sure why, but I've tasted it, and oh, is it sweet. So I'm not worried about it one bit, and as we cook through this, the color is going to change significantly. But yeah, this is just our setup for this year. We're going to see how it works. Maybe a larger pan on this in years in the future. But here in Georgia, it's not always a great place to sugar or to make maple syrup. We just don't have a very long season. This season consisted of probably less than a week of being able to collect sap. So now it's not to say that the weather won't change. We'll get some colder days, or colder nights, I mean, over the next month, but most likely not enough to warrant starting the whole operation up again. So we just have this little setup here. This was in a barn that we had. We used to warm the workshop, and that pipe, we kind of just discarded it, but we brought it back out of retirement You see it's good and rusted, but it's working just fine to kind of direct the smoke up and out of the stove and kind of get it away from us a little bit. So that's what we got going on today. We may turn that stovepipe a little bit so it is going. We'll just see what happens. I think it's fine. We will check back with you as we progress today. We are anticipating that this is going to take most of the day, if not all of the day, and into the evening. I know last time we did it, we had about half this much sap, I believe, and maybe even less than half of this. But so we're excited. We should get about a pint of syrup. So I know that's not a lot, but this stuff is really good, and we are going to enjoy it. Thank the Lord that He has given us this opportunity to harvest this from these wonderful trees, and it will sweeten our plate in the future. Check back with you later. Just thought I would give you a glimpse of how we stored it. So this is the sap. There were 2 other gallons that were in the evaporator now. And this is how we stored it. We just put it in water bottles and marked it and kept it in the refrigerator here. It's only been about 1 week at the most that it's been from our first time that we pulled sap off. But that's how we stored it to keep it fresh until we were ready to do what we're doing today. Alright, just coming down here to check on it. We're having a little bit of a rain shower, and the fire is going nicely, and we can already see the steam and bubbles forming down there in the lower pan, which is what we want. We need that steam coming off of there. That's getting rid of the water. It's concentrating the sap into syrup. Now, wish we didn't have this rain coming and splashing on here. We might have to do something about that. So, check back with you in a little bit. We're going to stoke the fire and keep that going and hopefully we can get a nice rapid boil going. That'll make things move along quicker. All right, here we are at the 1 hour mark. And we've got a great fire, great coals. We put wood on. We'll put a piece on about a half hour ago. I just put another piece on there now, and you can see that we actually have in our lower pot. We have it starting to boil pretty decent. Not a rapid, but a boil, and it's actually reducing down. We probably already reduced at least a quart or maybe more. There's a seam in the pan there that fills up, and that is at the 4-quart or 1 gallon mark. The upper pan is also starting to steam a little bit. So that's getting good and warm, and we're about ready to probably put that into the lower one and then start warming up some more. So we're moving right along here. If we could get through a half gallon an hour, we'll be done with this thing by dark. All right, check back with you later. Okay, so here we are, and we're about to pour off the warmed up sap into the evaporator pan, and that's pretty full. We'll be all right with that. I think we'll take this off for just a little bit and let that get to a boil. And then we can go ahead and put this back on to warm up the next gallon. Got here another 1.75 gallons there. Well, about 1.5 gallons between the two. Get some more wood on this fire and get that roaring boil going again, hopefully. Hopefully it won't take too long to get it back up. But you can still see it's steaming, so we didn't knock down the fire too much, I guess, which is a good thing. I wonder if, try this next little bit, we'll close the door here. We can open this for our draft. We'll see how that does, if that brings more energy into the fire. All right, so I'm gonna give you an update here on what's going on. We are here at the Sugar Shack. So, give you a little update. So, this stove here is purchased this back in 1999, and it was a very simple stove, very inexpensive, no gaskets on it whatsoever. We had it around. We used it in a barn that we had a workshop in the old general store, and it worked great. And then it was last year, I think it was, we decided we were going to restore it. It had sat outside for a little bit, got a little rusty, so we cleaned it up and did the stove polish on there, and we actually put the gaskets. You can see we put a gasket there around the door. Never had a gasket before. And we put a gasket there underneath the removable top. Hard to see, it's pretty much up underneath there. You can see a little tail of it sticking out there. That, where the pan is sitting, that portion will swing out of the way so that you can load wood if you wish. It also has the inserts for pots. So if you wanted to cook with pots, whatever, here's the inserts, the two round ones and the H one for the middle. So that right now is removed, and so we're getting a good fire up underneath direct contact with the pan, causing us to have this great, rolling boil. And I'm sitting in the steam is coming my way now, so I can smell that sweet goodness. And this is 2 gallons that we have on there now. And we're going to reduce that down, and then we'll put that pan back on top and put another gallon in there to warm that up before we enter it in. It took maybe about 15 minutes from the time that I added the upper pan to the lower one to restore this boil. So, but we're going to leave that top one off for a little bit so we don't condense any of that condensation and put it back in there. I think we'll get a more efficient I guess, sugaring, or more efficient, process without the top one being on there. When we see that it gets down, there's a seam in the side of the pan. That seam on this pan represents 1 gallon. So we are not near that yet, but when we get down to about that 1 gallon mark, I think we're going to go ahead and put the pan on top, and we will fill that with 1 more gallon, and we will keep working towards the ultimate goal of making maple syrup.
Good morning. It is February 15th, 2026, and today is sap turning into syrup making day. And Andy has already gotten started this morning. I've been doing a couple things around here, getting our seeds organized and just kind of choosing what we're going to do and plant this year. So for now, I'm going to take you outside and show you what Andy has got going on. So it is a rainy day here in Georgia, but look how adorable Andy's got like 2 chairs all ready to go as we sit here and watch our sap turn into syrup.
All right.
What you doing?
Oh, just sugaring up some sap. I guess that's what it's called. We're sugaring? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is our homemade evaporator setup
Love it.
for our small syrup operation. And this is our...
And you got a little chair there for me?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so did you share our experience of doing this before and sitting outside on... What did we sit on?
We just stood, maybe.
No, we sat. I think on concrete blocks.
Oh, probably. That's the way we did it back then. We did this one time before, and we actually had more trees that we tapped at that time. We had the sugar maple that we have here, which was much smaller. We had the red maple up at the farm. We also had another red maple on the back of the property, which we have since removed. And then we also did river birch. We have a couple. We had 3. We have 2 river birch trees up front now. The sap that we got off the river birch, we weren't happy with that. We didn't like the flavor. And it could be that we cooked it too much and we burned it, because that's kind of the flavor that it had. So we chose not to tap the river birch at this time, and we're just going to do a sugar maple and a red maple. And we got almost 8 gallons of sap in less than 1 week. And so that's what we're doing today, is we're going to cook down this sap into syrup. The process that we did previously was we built a rocket stove. And we built a rocket stove out of concrete block. And we basically boiled down with a smaller pot than this, probably half the size, but we had about half the amount of sap also.
Do you remember what year that was?
I do. That was 2012. That was 14 years ago.
So you did remember?
Oh, no. You told me last night.
So I don't know if that was the right year.
Okay.
But
we're guessing it was at least 10 years ago, if not 12 or 14 years ago. It is a lot of work. So I probably wasn't interested in doing it the next year and so forth. And then a few years went by, and I'm like, oh, it'd be nice to do this again. And, well, the weather was never right. I think we did try one time, and we tried. It was too late. We didn't get any sap. And been kind of watching the weather the last couple of years, and we had a really nice window open up for us. And we maybe missed the first day or 2 of it. So if we put this on a calendar and remind ourselves that we've really got to start looking earlier. So this is something that has to be done maybe late January here in North Georgia. Definitely by early February. We're right now on February 15th, and we haven't gotten any sap for the last couple days because it's not getting down below freezing at night. But we did have a stint there where we had about a week that was getting down below freezing each night. And which is what you need. Below freezing at night, above freezing during the day. And there were days we were getting a couple gallons a day. It was so exciting. And so we are now in the process of evaporating the water off of here, and going to move forward with that today. So we've got a little bit of a boil there. It's not as roaring as it was before. Not sure if we need to put another piece of wood on the fire. We might. So we will continue to check back with you throughout the day. Okay, we are back at it. We are almost at the 2.5 hour mark. We've had a little bit of a lull in the boil. We weren't really sure what caused it, but we're starting to get it going again. So like the last half hour, it really hasn't boiled much, and we packed a bunch of wood in there, and I think we're going to be in better shape now. So, but we are making headway, which is good. And we're about to put the warmer back on, so we wanted y'all to see that. And that's going to be pretty simple here. We just set this on top. There we go. And we'll set that on top right there. And then we're going to go ahead and add some sap to that. so that we can start to warm it up and get it ready to put into the evaporator. So that was about 3/4 of a gallon. And I think that's all we're going to do with that one for right now. And we have, and this is from the sugar maple. So this is the first, this upper one here is the first batch from the sugar maple. This is all red maple down here. But we are going to just mix the two. We're not going to make two separate batches because we don't really have that much. So it'll be a combination of the two. We now have my sweet wife Janice. She's down here joining us as we sit outside on this cool February morning. I think it's about 50 something degrees, right?
Yeah, I think it was 49, 50.
But we're nice and warm because we're in front of the wood stove. And we are sugaring. So that bottom pan, let's get in there a little closer. Oh, sorry. Bottom pan, that is the remnants of 2 gallons of red maple sap. And we're down now to about 2 quarts. Now we've added this extra pan on top, and in there is about 3/4 of a gallon of sap from a sugar maple, which is right here in our backyard. That tree right there goes all the way up, and we're going to start adding in the sugar maple sap now. So it's put up here a half hour ago, and that allows that sap to warm up, so then when we put it into the main evaporator pan, it will not be so much of a thermal shock. So we're going to do that now and see how that goes. So we can see that there is some steam coming off of there, and there's a lot of bubbles in there. So it's not boiling, but it's kind of close. Oh, look at that. That looks good. Nice even boil on this evaporator pan, so it's working out pretty well. I'm sure this is going to knock the boil down. We did this once before, and the boil resumed in about 15 minutes. And so we'll leave this pan off now for a while until we get some good headway on this. Take a peek in there. We can see how the fire's doing. This is a good time to add some more wood. We got some good coals in there. Oops, you know what? Put that glove on the wrong hand, because that gets hot when you get in there that close. This poker is like, could be a little longer. Kind of pull some of these coals forward and give it a nice bed to lay on the new wood. Alright, so we'll add a couple pieces of, oh wow, that is so hot. That is, should have left the glove on probably, huh? And the goal is to get that fire going again. Really good, so that we can get that. Just get that filled up. Yeah, you can hear it crackling away in there. Look at that bed of coals. I don't think we have ever gotten this stove this hot before. Close that up. And we're gonna sit here and see how long it takes for it to get boiling again. I imagine it'll be about 15 minutes. Okay, so here we are. We are watching a very rapid boil here, and this is about 30 minutes after we added that extra 3/4 gallons of sap. And so we're getting good production, good steam coming off of there. That's exactly what we're looking for. Yeah, this is Good progress. I want you guys to take a look at the color. Starting to get a little bit of a golden hue, which is really nice. That's showing that we're progressing well. So we're down, there's less than a gallon in there now. We do have rain that's come in again. We knew that was going to happen today, but we're going to go ahead now and set up the warmer because we're getting close. So we want to set up the warmer on top here. And then we got sugar maple sap here. This is about 3/4 of a gallon or so. We're going to put that in there. And we're going to get this warming up for about 30 minutes. And then we will be able to put that into there and keep going with this sugaring. Evaporating all this extra water. Okay, here we are. It is now 8.5 hours into our syrup making day. I wanted to get this video. That is about 1 gallon of sap / syrup in the pan right now. We have about just under 1 gallon more of sap to do, but we're making our way through that to almost 8 gallons. So that looks like that's about gallon 7 there, and we've already gotten through 6 gallons. So it's been a long day, and we still probably have another good hour, maybe 2 hours left to get through this and get it down. We want to get all of this almost 8 gallons down to about 2 quarts or so, and then at that point we will take it inside and finish it inside. After we strain, we'll strain it. We will finish cooking it down to the final temperature that we'll consider it to be maple syrup will be 219 degrees, the boiling temperature. So we are just checking in here, and that's what we're looking at right now. You can actually see that they're starting to become a lot of color. It is no longer a clear liquid. We keep adding to this, and so it keeps getting higher and higher in sugar concentration, and we're seeing a golden color start to develop. So as we continue with these last 2 gallons, it'll just get deeper and deeper in color and make for a really nice syrup. We're very pleased with the way it's working out. Everything seems to be going along just fine. It's just a lengthy process, and we'll check back in with you later. Here we are, it's 7:30 now. We are 10 hours into this process, and we still, let's see, there's probably about less than 1 gallon in the evaporator now, and we have, maybe about 1 more gallon to go. So we have been able to evaporate out about 6 gallons so far. So that's quite a bit, but it has taken us 10 hours. So we're going to keep at it, and hopefully we'll be done here in a couple of hours. But we got a nice little boil going there, and we're about ready to add in the last. We'll put the warmer on top there, I guess, here in a little bit, and start warming up the last gallon. And then we'll see it finish on out here over the next, probably 2 hours. Okay, here we are. We are at 8:30 now. This is the 11-hour mark, and we just put the last about 3/4 of a gallon of sap into the warmer. You can kind of make out how that stuff's looking a little darker now. That's good. Down in the evaporator. And you can actually see, look at the bottom of the door on the stove is glowing red. It's red hot. So this is just cranking along now. We're going. I had to take out some of the ash. There was so much ash built up in there, I wasn't getting airflow up underneath there. So I took some out, and we're really moving along now. So that's good. Maybe, I don't know, another hour. So a full 12 hours. Hopefully it'll be done. Or it'll be ready to go inside and then be finished. But we'll have the outside part done. So, okay, we are now reaching the final stage. So we have the almost 8 gallons of tree sap cooked down here to probably about 1/2 gallon. And we are now going to take this off of the fire and we're going to strain it through 2 layers of a very clean t-shirt. We're going to strain it into this pot here, just a stainless steel kitchen pot, and we're going to then take it upstairs and finish it inside on the range, on the stove. So, here it goes. And you can look in here and you can see possibly that there is a grainy substance in the bottom, and that's what we're looking to strain out. That is called sugar sand, and that sugar sand is the minerals that are in the tree sap that have been cooked out. Let's see how this goes. We don't want to waste any. This is what we've been working all day long for. So we are getting it all in there. And we will be filtering this at least one more time too after we cook it down before we put it into jars. So there we go. That is the extent of it right there. Here's the bottom of our pot. It's nice and blackened. We're going to see how well that cleans up, I guess. Probably tomorrow. I'll go ahead and put these pieces back on the stove, and we're going to let this wood that's in here burn out. All right, here we go. So we're going to go ahead and take this upstairs, and yeah, you can see the sediment there on the shirt, and there's some little black specks. You know, that could be ash, could be all kinds of stuff that has gotten in there because this is just an open pot that we've been working with all day. Okay, so here we are. We're in the kitchen. We're going to go ahead and open this up. See what we got here. Oh, here we go. Here it is. Down in there and take a good look at that. Very nice looking. But this is still not maple syrup. This is still sap. And what we're going to do here is cook this down some more. So we're going to turn this on. And get this going to another boil. And we're going to be working on reducing this down even more, probably by at least half. We could take a measurement. Let's do that. Let's take a measurement about how much is here. I'm going to go ahead and pour it in here and see what we got when we move on. So that's 1 quart there. We might be really close. I bet this is less than a quart here. Oh, just over a quart. Okay, that's not bad. And what we want to do is reduce it down to like a pint. So we got to get rid of most of this. So it's definitely going to take a minute here on the stove. And by a minute, I mean a while. So we'll bring that up to a boil and let that cook down. And we're going to be taking the temperature as we go. We are going to be looking for, we're north of Atlanta. We're at about 1,000, not quite 1,000 feet elevation. So we need this when it's boiling to be at a temperature of a 217.5 Fahrenheit. That is the maple syrup temperature for 1,000 feet. So it's already 10:30, so we're 13 hours into this process, and may have another couple hours to go yet. We'll check back with you later. Okay, here we are. We've been working on reducing this down for the last hour at least. We are now 14 hours into the process, and we're trying to reach 117.5. So we're at about 114. And 14.5. We're almost there. Yeah, we're at a steady 114.5, so we're getting there. It won't be much longer now. All right, so we have gone and we have cooked it down to, it reached 100 or 217.8 degrees, and we held it there for a couple of minutes. And this is what we have. So we've got an 8-ounce bottle, a 12-ounce bottle, and about half of this half pint. So about 4 or 5 ounces in there. So that was our yield, and it tastes very good. So that is going to be our final product. So we got a couple of neat little bottles there, and then one little jar. So thank you for joining us on this adventure that took 14.5 hours. All right. Have a good night.